Hello guys, I hope you like my little setup here. I will try and figure out as we go, maybe get a ring light, but this was very important, so I needed to get it to you right away. We're going to talk about values today and how that is an important aspect of motivation. You have to figure out the why of the things that you do, and when you know that, when you know it connects to you deeply, I think you will be much more likely to do things. So today I will be sharing a little bit about my values and how they help me reach my goals and feel motivated each and every single day. I'll give you a general example to begin with. Let's say you want a dress. So you figure out why you want that dress. Okay, you want recognition, but why? Why is it important for you to feel admired? Maybe you felt like beauty was something you never had when you were younger. And you like the attention it gives. Getting attention makes you feel good. Why? You feel seen. So you have to really get to the bottom of it. And I use Anna's A Season of Life, and she really helps you get down to it and get down to your core values and actually do review of your values each 3 months. And I think this is great. It helps you stay in tune with your values throughout the year. I use all of her journals, and this is something I got into because of her, but I thought it could be helpful to hear someone use this journal. How do I apply this? It's always helpful to hear other people's experiences. So one of my core values is freedom, and that is very general. And what does freedom mean to me? So I realize the strongest components of freedom for me is safety. Maybe that's not for another person, but for me, safety means freedom. Because you can't be free if you're not also safe. And so what is safety for me, more deeply? Okay, it's actually financial safety. So I want some kind of financial stability. Okay, great. Now I realize that. What else is safety for me? It's a committed relationship. So I would not be okay with the situation. So you figure out, you break it into smaller and smaller pieces, and you figure out what is important to you. So how would I apply this? I want to do habits that are in alignment with safety. I will not go and leak all my funds on a dress. Instead, I might save those money. And for example, I will follow this routine. I will study for this each day, because that will bring me safety and in turn will bring me freedom. The next one I thought I'd talk a bit about is another core value for me is self-esteem. So I figured out why do I value self-esteem? What about self-esteem do I value specifically? For me, that was a lot about self-acceptance. So I tried to find ways to implement that each day. Someone who is self-accepting wouldn't be extremely hard on themselves when they have a hard day and cannot study as well, for example. I would instead make that schedule a little bit more flexible that day or find another way to do it, because I accept that I do have difficult days. And in that way, I feel more motivated. I feel okay, I'm living in alignment with my values. I am accepting myself. I find ways that work for me with my own prerequisites. And also another part of self-esteem that I realized I have to work on is to speak up more. I need to speak my mind more on meetings at work, etc. So now I try to implement this. If something is important for me at work, I will try and say something about it in a meeting, even if it feels difficult in a group. That is just some examples. I have many ways to implement this. And another core value for me was flow. I really value being in deep focus. I feel that's something that I really can do. I've always been a person that easily can focus deeply. It is really important for me to find a time in the day when I feel like I can go really deeply into focus and into flow. So what helps me get into flow? Having a timer. If I set a timer and say I will focus very deeply for an hour, that helps me. And that is how I implement that value, and I get more motivated when I get the reward of the feeling of flow. Another one is peace. So if I want peace, I want a peaceful life, I want peaceful relationships. How can I implement this value so that I feel more peaceful in life? Non-defensiveness for me. I try not to be defensive in life in general. I try not to be defensive at work. I try not to be defensive in relationships. So that means being open to feedback and also trying to see things from other people's viewpoint. My fifth and core value is connection. I really do value connection with other people. That gives me meaning in my life. How can I cultivate this? How can I live by this every day? One of the things I do is I tell myself it's okay to be vulnerable with some of the people in your life. It means that I am vulnerable with people. When I feel a particularly positive feelings towards them, I communicate that. When there is something very difficult in the relationship, I try and communicate that as well, so that I can have that connection, that true, deeper connection. I hope this was helpful to you, and I'm so glad to be doing this again. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.